project used for this hack are the Mother's Garden #1, the Furry Friends #1, the Free Pet Paw Vector downloads, and the font used is Andaleas. Okay, for Hack of the Week number 55, we're going to create a pet memorial. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we need to do is download from the Design and Make site the pet paw outlines that are free to it's a free to anyone download. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the project shop. We'll scroll down, and because it's the Furry Friends project was the last one added currently as of this video, then it's at the bottom, but if not, you may have to just search through the projects. But you click Furry Friends, and if you scroll down, you'll see that somewhere's on the page, and right now it's just above the project page for the paws. It says free vector download, or you can also click this link here. So when you download that, I just happen to save it off onto my desktop here, so it's ready to go. And let's just bring up Aspire. Now we're going to lay this out in Aspire version 8, mainly because I want to simulate visually the V carving and some other elements so that I can create a shadow shade view to send off to my customer for approval. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, and in this case we're going to make it 13 by 13. We're going to put it into a 3/4 inch piece of wood, and we're going to click OK. We're going to scoot over to our clip art tab, and we are going to go find our Mother's Garden #1 project. And we're going to grab the round sign. And then we're going to go ahead and press select it, and then we're going to press T on the keyboard, and we're going to make this 12 inches in diameter. Apply, and we'll close that down. Now we're going to go back to our clip art tab again, and we're going to go find the leash from the Furry Friends #1. We're going to drag that in. We're going to double click on that, excuse me, and then we're going to scale that up. What we're going to try and do is, because of the way that the round sign is made, we can actually tuck the top piece of this leash inside of the model. So if we flip over to the 3D viewer, actually let's just go ahead and split the view. You'll see that over here, because the leash is being merged into the round sign shape, the bit of the leash that's underneath the high spot on this sign shape is actually inside of that. So if we just scale this up to the point that it's in there, and then what we're going to do is we need to get rid of this little piece here. So if we just tuck this up close to the top, and we're really careful, then we can make it look like that piece doesn't exist. There we go. Now also, because the leash has been merged into the actual sign shape, then you'll see that the clasp here gets cropped off. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on the leash, and we're going to select the properties. And we're going to go ahead and change this to be, now we need to figure out what the height is of this space is right here. So if you hover over this around the center section and you look down here, you'll see what the height is. So you'll see that it's 0.0821. So we're going to put 0.0821 in there as a start height, and as soon as we do that, it pops up through that. But now we're starting to reveal some of our leash up top, and we want to hide that. So let's change this shape height to 1/4 inch, and then there we go. So now what we need to do is we just need to zoom in a little bit, and we just need to adjust that a little bit. So we need to adjust the size a hair, and we're going to bring it over there a little bit further. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. That's great. Let's close that down. Now let's go ahead and go back to our clip art, and we're going to bring in the round tag from the Furry Friends #1. And we're going to flip over to our modeling tab, and we're going to flip that left over right, but we're going to make sure that we don't create a mirrored copy, and we're going to use the center line of our job. So we flip that over. Let's just go ahead and size that down so it's the right size that we want. And we are going to go ahead, and we're going to hook it onto the end of the clasp here. But the problem is that it needs to be rotated slightly, and the Z height is wrong, so the thickness of it is wrong. So we're going to go ahead and rotate that around a little bit, tuck it into our project a bit better, make it fit a little bit better. I think that looks pretty good. Move it a little higher maybe. And there we go. So now let's go ahead and bring up the Properties tab again, and we're going to make sure that it is the start height of 0.082, or the base height, excuse me, and we are going to make this a 1/4 inch tall and close. Now it came in as a merged component, so that's great. It kind of fits in there just nicely. Looks pretty good. Great. So there we are. There's a start. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lay out some text onto this. So we're going to go ahead and maximize our 2D view, and we are going to zoom in. And we need to create 2 circles. So we're going to create 1 circle in the center, and we're going to make it, the diameter of it is going to be 8 inches. Apply, and we're going to close that down. We're going to press F9 to center it. And then we're going to go ahead and go into node mode, and we're going to cut it here. And we're going to cut it here. And this is why we're cutting it here and there, so that when we lay out our text, we have a half a circle and a half a circle. That way we can get half of our text on the top and half on the bottom. And then what I want to do is I'm going to grab those both, and I'm going to Control C and Control V. That's copy and paste. And then I want to press T again, and I want to make my copy that I just pasted 10 inches. And that'll make our second line. Now I know that those are in the right position because I've played around with this before, but also sometimes it's hard to tell where the shape changes, and only if the component is selected can you see it. Now if you have that problem, if the grayscale has lightened it up so much that you can't see some of the detail, then you can select the component, right click on it, go down to Object Properties, and then you can change the fade of that. So you can turn it all the way off, click Close, and then even if you don't have that object selected, you can still see all of the grayscale nice and proper, and the contrast is right, so you can see all the details. But we're all done with that, so we're going to go select that again. The thing is, you can't tell it's selected unless you look for the control nodes. Object Properties, and we're going to put that back to 50%, which is the default. Let's go ahead over, and we're going to type in some text. So in this case, the top line is going to be I think of you every day, comma. That's perfect. And we're going to use the Andaleas font. We're going to make it bold, and it's going to be center. And we're going to click Apply. It's really huge, so let's make that 1 inch. Apply. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to size it down, and I didn't note the size, so this actually be good because we can actually fiddle around with this and get it right. So I'm just kind of visualizing in my head, if this bends around that, is it going to be too long? I think it's going to be too long, so let's make it a bit smaller. That's good for now because we can change some of this in the next step. So we're going to go ahead and type in our next bit of text. We need to unselect that text, sorry. We're going to select that, and it's going to be, and I still miss you, period. Okay. Bold, center, and apply. That's great. We need to just change the size. We're just going to mirror the same size. So it's 7.778. There we go. Okay, so now we're all set up with the right sized font and everything. I'm going to grab this and that, half moon, and we're going to go ahead and wrap our text along a curve. And we're going to maintain the text size for now, and click Apply. And we're going to go ahead and use other side. And that's pretty good. I know that, again, that this one is a little bit shorter, so it should still fit perfectly. It goes right to the end of the end. Close that down. I'm going to grab you. There we go, yep, grab you, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap that text. Click Apply, and then we're going to make sure it's on the other side. And we need to maintain the size, text size. It's good. Close. Now we're going to go in and we need to change some of the kerning here, the spacing between the letters. So we're going to use the Edit Text Spacing on a Curve tool, select that text, If we hold down the Shift key, we can add spaces between letters when we click between them. So we can kind of space those out a little bit. We'll take that space. So if you don't use the Shift key, then it will bring the letters closer together. So it looks pretty good. Perfect. Let's go back to our pick tool again. And now we're going to go ahead and add in a little more text. We're going to put our pet's name, Hooper, in the center. Right there. Then we're going to put the dates on the tag. Let's close that down. Just click off, and then we're going to click back on again. And we're going to put in 2/00/2000 to 2013. Apply. Now the spacing is going to make sure that's bold. And the spacing is the line spacing is odd. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide this off of here so we can work with it. We're going to ungroup. We're going to break apart, break text blocks into lines. And we're going to grab the 2000 and we're going to use our cursor keys and we're going to nudge it down and nudge that one up. Then we're going to regroup all that. And then we're going to go ahead and place it on top of the tag. Now we're going to scale it down, but then we're going to rotate it so that it's proper, or at least sort of looks like it was actually on the tag. Which is kind of a nice little touch. Let's rotate it a bit more. Maybe size it down a bit. Now, okay, for the last bit, we're going to bring in that text that we had brought in and saved off. Not text, excuse me, the paw outlines. So I'm just going to slide Aspire aside. And I'm going to drag in my paws from the desktop, and I'm going to put Aspire back. There we go. We're going to zoom out. We're going to size it down. Now, there's two different paw shapes here. One is supposed to be a dog and one is a cat, but depending on the size of your dog, the cat one might work better. So we're just going to grab those, the dog print, and we're going to go ahead and drag it over, and we're going to use it as a spacer between these two lines. We're going to scale that down. We're just going to rotate that into place. So it looks good. Then we're going to go ahead and flip that across our project to the other side. Close. And there we go. Let's delete that guy. We don't need him anymore. So now we're going to go ahead, and because this is Aspire, we can do this next step, which is we're going to simulate our V-carving. But if you don't have Aspire, then what you can do is just simulate preview your tooling and then save off a screenshot of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of our text, and we're going to go ahead and create a shape. And the shapes that I use to create the simulation is a pyramid shape, -35-degree angle, a base height of minus 0.05, no limit, and we're just going to add it. If we look at our 3D view, you'll see that we now have nice text there. And now let's just go ahead and start a new component. And we're going to go ahead and grab all our paw prints. And we're going to do the same to that. I could have done it all in one step. I'm not sure why I chose to do it in two, but flip to our 3D view, and there we go. So to make this look even better, we're going to use the new shadow shade. So we're going to use shadow shading, and we're going to not show the modeling plane. And there you have it, our pet memorial ready for our customer to look at and approve. And of course, it's totally customizable. You can change the pet name, the years, the saying, and so on. Hope you enjoyed.